It used to be that the greatest risks to our children were outside, in unfamiliar places, with unfamiliar people. But now, the danger has moved inside, into bedrooms, living rooms, into the places we once considered safe. Today's playgrounds are digital. They exist in gaming apps, group chats, and social feeds. This is where kids spend their time. This is where strangers gain access. And this is where exploitation begins. Quietly, invisibly, behind screens.
We understood that without education, without speaking English or Danish, we wouldn't be able to survive.
Welcome back to the Empowered Life podcast, where we believe that one empowered life can change everything. And today's episode is living proof of that. So statistics show that in many parts of the world, only about 5% of children who grow up without parents will ever go on to build stable, thriving lives as adults. So once they age out of the system that they're in, many of them will just continue in the same cycles of poverty and addiction that they were used to growing up. And that's not because they lack potential, but it's really just because they don't have the guidance and the opportunities or having someone just in their corner believing in them. And so in many parts of the world, less than 1% of orphans will ever go to college. And that's compared to about 50% of their peers. And again, it's not because they don't have big dreams. They just don't think their dreams are possible. But behind all of those statistics is really a child who has so much worth and so much potential. And many of them really long to learn and to grow and to believe in what their dreams are and what could be possible for their life. And so today's guest has helped hundreds of young people, many of them that are facing those same odds, but beat the odds and just rewrite their story and move from hopelessness to higher education. And so we're joined today by Kostya Shestakov. He is a language educator. He's a translator. He is a connector at heart. He is just this literal bridge builder. And he has spent more than 20 years helping students from all around the world explore new opportunities through the power of communication. So he is the founder of a global online school where he connects students across the borders all around the world through language and through learning and just this cultural exchange. So he has spent over a decade volunteering with Allies and Youth Development in Russia as a leader and a mentor to orphans. And that's where he saw another need that they have, which is education. So many of the children he was mentoring were falling really far behind in school. And so he was able to use his university connections and his passion for empowering others to launch the Allies Tutoring Program, which helps these children gain the skills and the confidence they need to pursue their dreams of education. And so what has happened since that launch is truly remarkable. It is a story of connection, of mentorship, and how education is transforming lives and rewriting futures. So I'm so excited for you to hear his story. And I really think you're going to be empowered to see how one man just used his passions and his connections, and that has transformed the lives of so many. So let's get started. Kostya, we are so happy to have you and to have you here in the studio, which is such a gift because you're coming all the way from St. Petersburg, right? So you're here with a group of students. They're here for like a study abroad, correct? Working with UTA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of study abroad. Yeah. The project that was started 2 years ago has its main goal is to familiarize Russian students with the American culture,
Right.
The university life of everyday life of people, and bring them here from Russia. And it's kind of an immersive program for them.
Well, I've had the opportunity of meeting them, and they're wonderful and such a joy. And actually, my kids got to go with them to the Texas Ranger game, which was so cool to get to watch. They said just watching, them experience this for the first time was a really neat experience. So I love your story, and I love that we get to have this interview in person and that you are here right now with us. So I want us to start just with giving a little bit of a backstory about you and your heart and your childhood and kind of how that shaped who you are and what you're doing today.
The podcast is called Empowered Life,
Yes.
right? As you were doing the introduction, I
Mhm.
was thinking, can it be applied to my life?
Yeah.
Can I think about my life as being empowered?
Mhm.
In some way, yeah, there were so many
Mhm.
directions that I could have taken and I actually did in my life.
Right.
And at some point, I was very vulnerable. That was the end of the collapse of Soviet Union. So the values of the previous country, the Soviet Union, were collapsing,
Mhm.
and people had to get accommodated and to adopt a new way of life,
Mhm.
totally different. And that was a big crisis for many people in the country, including probably me, because I saw the big discrepancy between what textbooks in Russian school, in Soviet school said, and what my parents said, and what my friends said. There's like,
Mhm.
and
Just
yeah,
conflict of
there was like
realities. Yeah.
internal conflict. Very
And how old are you at this time?
like 15, 16 years
Okay.
old.
So a real pivotal time in your life.
Yeah, of my peers. I was looking for the meaning and meaningful life on the
Mhm.
streets, not in the school, and
Mhm.
not so much maybe at home, because parents were busy surviving
Mhm.
uh, because the economic crisis. And
Right.
so yeah, and at that time I think today that I was far from being empowered.
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
You were just kind of being pulled wherever the world was pulling you.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
And a little
I had
lost.
to, yeah, I had to make sometimes living by getting into uh, half legal business of selling souvenirs to foreigners, Westerners who started to come to Russia, to Soviet. It was the end of Soviet Union,
Mhm.
because it was like a new trend, like democratization of the country,
Mhm.
and they wanted to see the once completely closed country with
Mhm.
their own eyes. So
Mm.
there was, and I would sell these like souvenirs from Russian military shops, like
To
hats
Americans.
to Americans,
Mhm.
to Western Europeans, and I was selling it for dollars, right?
Mhm.
And having dollars back then was illegal.
Big time illegal or like kind of illegal?
If you operated with big amounts of money,
Uh-huh.
that was big time illegal. Well,
Right.
we didn't have this, like a few $100,
Mhm.
but it was enough to put us to jail,
Okay.
and which happened a few times.
Mhm.
Well, but uh, yeah, that was like our kind of business
Yeah.
for maybe 2 3 years. At the same time, yeah, I traveled a lot across Russia, selling these things
Mhm.
on trains and hotels. Well, anything like a normal path in life was very. I was thinking skeptically about it, like going to
Mhm.
university or getting a profession.
Mhm.
Uh, we were very skeptical about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why
Right.
should we do this? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was empowered by friends, by
Mhm.
the street,
Mhm.
by making money like
Mhm.
immediately, like
Right.
instant gratification. That
Mhm.
was
That
something
was
that is
what drove you. Mhm.
yeah.
But I assume some good must have come from this. Like, what did that experience? How did that shape you?
Uh, so that was how I why I'm here, right? Like
Mhm.
speaking in Texas, in uh, speaking in English to Americans.
Mhm.
So yeah, because we were working with, like, we were selling these souvenirs to foreigners. I had to speak some English, and
Mhm.
my English was horrible at that time, but I didn't care
Mhm.
because that was My
making
goal was to
money.
sell it, making
Right.
money, right? But we had a dream when we were like 16, 17. We wanted to see Europe. We wanted to see America.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big dream, especially when the Soviet Union collapsed completely.
Mm-hmm.
And most people in Russia never left Russia. They even if you had to go outside of Russia, of Soviet Union, you had to apply for exit visa,
Mm.
not entry visa to the country you go, but exit. So it was like completely isolated country.
Mm-hmm.
We bought some like fake visas to Denmark
Mm-hmm.
from like our some guys in
Mm-hmm.
Moscow.
On the streets.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and when we came when we came to Denmark, nobody wanted to let us in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they found out that these visas were fake.
Right.
But we still wanted to see how people in Europe lived.
There was just
And
this like hunger for you to explore other
yeah,
parts of the
yeah.
world. Yeah.
So yeah, we applied. We said that we don't want to go back to Russia
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't want to go to fight in Chechnya. That
Mm.
was the first Chechen war at that time, and we asked for political asylum. Well,
Mm.
yeah, and we were admitted.
Okay.
So, and we spent about like 5 months in refugee camps in Denmark with my
Wow.
friend. And while staying there, like the result of all this was we didn't want to stay there for forever. Like that was not our dream. We
Right.
could have stayed
Mm-hmm.
if we provided all the paperwork and so on. But eventually we understood that without education, without speaking English or Danish,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't be able to survive, like to live like normal people.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to live like a lot of people from Eastern Europe and Russia. They enjoy just living on the like welfare,
Mm-hmm.
like that was given to them as political asylum seekers,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't want that.
Yeah.
So we asked after like 4.5 months, we asked for to be deported,
Go back.
to go back. That's called like deportation, but it was our initiative. like.
Yeah.
And when I returned to Russia, I thought that I need to do something about my life. Like, and well, thankfully, my parents, they accepted me as I was, like,
Yeah.
and they helped me. They helped me and hired tutors so that I could pass entrance exams to a university, and I wanted to study languages. Even though I was already a medical student,
Mm-hmm.
but it was not my choice. I come from a family of doctors
Mm-hmm.
and
That's just
policemen. Yeah,
was
like
the
yeah,
expectation. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, I was already medical, so but I took an academic leave before going to traveling to Denmark, whatever, and yeah. So
So why language? Like what?
because yeah, I thought that when I returned and I went back to this medical school, when I saw my peers, the students, this like, and I thought that they don't know life. They don't know what is outside of Russia, what's going on like in the world, how important the foreign languages are, and I felt so alienated. I felt that I. No, I can't continue. I need to change something, and I chose this profession of a like linguist. So I enrolled in the different university and started to study languages.
So you felt like those experiences, although it was an unconventional way of going about them, really just opened your eyes to other parts of the world and the power of
Yeah,
being able to speak another language.
yeah, and that's very. I thought that it was something like a window, whatever you call
Yeah.
it, like to the world,
Yeah.
especially given the situation. Like for maybe for people like who were born like in France or United States,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have this problem of like feeling that their country is so isolated from the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Soviet Union,
Mm-hmm.
and with all the communist ideology, like with all this isolation of Soviet Union, like the Iron Curtain, it's a very different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you finally see with your own eyes a different country, different
Mm-hmm.
culture, and you want to learn, you want to understand, you want to compare, you want to make some conclusions,
Mm-hmm.
takeaways, like what, like it's life changing. It's
Mm-hmm.
in some way, it's yes, it's like a empowered life. Like
Mm-hmm.
in my case, it was maybe not so conventional, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it seems like for you, education and specifically language was meant freedom almost, or like,
Yeah, very much.
yeah. And that you didn't just want that for yourself. Obviously, you wanted it to become your profession so you could empower others with the same.
Yeah, it was later
Yeah.
when I already graduated from university, when I started to work um, as a language teacher, like English and French.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I always wanted to share. That one of the idea I was focused on, like is like something that fixed me, is you cannot learn. You shouldn't just learn the language, like grammar,
Mm-hmm.
vocabulary. You should learn the language as it reflects the mind of the people who for whom this language is a native language,
Mm-hmm.
how it reflects the culture, and how successfully you can communicate with these people
Mm-hmm.
of this target culture, target
Right.
language. So that was the most important thing for me when I
Mm-hmm.
started to teach English
Mm-hmm.
to my students. And yeah, my idea is that I should bring the because mostly American culture, yes, is something that I was fascinated like through films, through books.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I thought that I should bring this culture and the people who speak English as their native language as close to my students as possible.
Mm.
How can you do it in Siberia? In Soviet time, it was the so-called closed city, close to foreigners because of a lot of military plants there. So there were not many foreigners, like Westerners in
Right.
this sense, or American. How can I bring this to
Right.
my students who never traveled abroad, like who never saw American people in real life? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that I can connect them through online
Mm-hmm.
projects.
Right.
That was my
That was,
obsession.
yeah.
So when I got a Fulbright scholarship in 2006, made a lot of contacts in Iowa State University where I was a Fulbright scholar. And when I returned to Russia, I started to organize this online.
Mm.
It was absolutely pioneering. I had my American colleagues in Iowa and Texas, and they would teach English to my Russian students, and I myself would teach Russian to American students who study Russian, and I would connect my students with American students, American students who study Russian, with Russian students who study English in online environment. Yeah.
So that's all about empowerment, really, because it's
Yes.
you've used your experience, and that was an empowering journey that you went on. And now you're wanting to empower students, and not just with the language, but with like bridging different cultures and really opening their eyes to other
Yes.
opportunities, which is so
Yes.
powerful.
Absolutely. And that, yeah, I absolutely am devoted to
Yeah,
this
this
idea
is your
that,
passion.
yeah, that's my passion. Like, because you can consider it from many angles, from the way how, if you can provide high quality translation, or if you want to overcome political barriers, or if you want to avoid cultural misunderstanding or language communicative breakdowns, it's all can be achievable if you expose if I expose my students to hands-on experience with communicating with native-speaking Americans,
Yeah.
and vice versa. The same is when it happens with American students who study Russian. They
Yeah.
should be in direct contact with Russians.
Wow. I love that. Well, tell me, how did your work in the universities and with students overlap with Allies, and how did you get connected with Allies and with mentoring?
So I started to collaborate with University of Texas at Arlington in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big project where faculty members of UTA were involved, and Professor Pete Smith and Dr. Tatiana Baeva, and Allies didn't exist back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in 2010, but we were working together with
Mm-hmm.
Tatiana doing this. Like American professors were teaching Russian students,
Mm-hmm.
English to Russian students, and Russian, like me, I was
Mm-hmm.
teaching the students the Russian language, and we connected our students online,
Mm-hmm.
Americans and Russians. And one of this, like maybe the end of one of the projects, it was all online, and
Mm-hmm.
it was still kind of very new.
Right.
Tatiana said, "Kostya, I have like a question to you. Like, would you like to help children, and specifically children who don't have parents?" Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I was already a father. I think
Mm-hmm.
I already two, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
two daughters. So
Right.
for me, it was like,
Close to
yeah,
your heart.
it's like, yeah, it's not, it's just like, of course, yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would I say no, right? It's
Right.
like, yeah, I didn't know what she was going to
Ask of
offer,
you.
yeah, what
Yeah.
she's going to ask me for. And then she explained, like, they have in mind this project, and like it was just the beginning, I think, of Allies,
Mm-hmm.
is to uh, to reach out to orphans in Russian orphanages, get a group of volunteers and come to an orphanage every month,
Mm-hmm.
and make friends
Mm-hmm.
with children. That's very important because there are a lot of volunteering organizations in Russia, and there are big companies that send their volunteers maybe once a year,
Mm-hmm.
or once every, like for some specific like holidays,
Mm-hmm.
celebrations, to come to an orphanage and bring some presents,
Yeah.
maybe balloons,
Yeah.
right, and sing songs, give them cakes, and then leave. And
Yeah.
they don't even know the names of the children.
Mm-hmm.
So and
So the idea of monthly going
monthly
is
going,
pretty unique.
yes, learning about what the needs of the
Yeah.
children,
Becoming friends.
becoming friends. Now allies call it like mentoring. Yes, kind of mentoring,
Mm-hmm.
but initially we even thought about being friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then a mentoring too, of course,
Right.
that later, this understanding came a little later.
The foundation was building that relationship.
Yeah,
I've always heard like people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? And so
yeah,
you had to establish that caring, safe relationship first.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we and I accepted. I said,
Yeah.
okay, let's do
Let's
that,
do it.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
And I was back then, I was a professor of Omsk University,
Mm-hmm.
and I had connections, like colleagues
Right.
mostly, not students, but mostly adults.
Mm-hmm.
And we
You recruited them.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 6, 7, like the most kind of the closest
Mm-hmm.
like-minded people. And we started going to we I think we even chose an orphanage that was closest to my house,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we contacted the director, and she said okay, well, and we started going there. And we did plan our activities, and we I think, one of our friends, she was a professor of social work,
Mm-hmm.
departments of social work in the university, and she was very helpful in designing this kind of like some training,
Lessons and stuff.
yeah.
What was
And
that like at first going into these orphanages? Had you been
it
exposed
was
to
depressing.
Depressing.
Very
Yeah.
depressing. I had visited some orphanages before
Mhm.
as an interpreter when some like Americans or Israeli people would come to Omsk and adopt children, like toddlers, like very, very
Right.
small children. Uh,
So you
yeah,
had a little bit of visibility, but this you're
yeah.
like really
This is
going
very different. Like we
consistently. I
started
see.
to understand how all this like function. Actually, sometimes it's really dysfunctional.
Yeah.
I mean, like in terms of how their basic needs are all provided for.
Mm-hmm.
So now I understand that there are very different situations. Like when you go to an orphanage in Africa or maybe Latin America, and when you go to Russia,
Mm-hmm.
now I see that. Like
They're not all
last
the
year, we
same.
went to Cuba with
Mhm.
Allies, and that was that was different.
Right.
So the basic needs are all provided for in Russian
Mhm.
orphanages: food, like clothes,
Housing.
like
Yeah.
blankets to
Mhm.
sleep. Like it's all. But the most important thing is that they're still abundant. Like they
Mhm.
abundant. Like um, there are some like very depressing things. Like the kids in Russian orphanage, they start calling their instructors. I don't know how to like supervisors. They start
Mhm.
calling like mama, right?
Mhm.
But the salaries of these supervisors are very low, so the
Mhm.
rotation is very common, and they
Yeah.
like they maybe like for 2 months, then she leaves,
Mm.
and a different mama
Mm.
comes.
So just
So
re-traumatizing them.
yes,
Yeah.
these traumas they happen again and again.
Mm.
Uh, then you feel like it's very like a real institution. It has elements of school, of prison,
Mm.
of
Not home.
hospital. Yeah,
Yeah.
but not really home.
Mhm.
They call themselves today like the rooms where they live like five, maybe 3, 4 children in like one big room. They
Mhm.
call it like they have this signs like семья, like family, but
Mhm.
it's not.
It's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and mm, that's something that really they get attached when you become friends.
Mhm.
They get attached to you, and
Mm.
it's kind of it's difficult too
Mhm. Mhm.
because you understand that you still you cannot stay forever with
Yeah.
him, and it's painful. But still you
But you found that over
it's good.
time their hearts started softening and they would open
They would open, yeah,
up.
and they
Mhm.
one of the most important thing maybe is that you kind of you they start to trust adults in general maybe more like
Mm.
when they see these mentors volunteers who come regularly especially
Mhm.
they feel a little bit different they because
Mhm.
one of the most the biggest trauma is that they don't trust
Mm.
adult world
Mhm.
because
Right.
they were most of them were abandoned by their parents
Right.
families
Mhm.
and when they see adults um, whom they trust, it's
Mhm.
different. Yeah,
Right.
so it's important. Yeah,
So you did that. You were involved in the mentoring program for many years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Since 2000, maybe 13 until well, I until today, right? Because
Yeah.
I,
Still.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we started it in Omsk,
Mhm.
and then when I moved out from Omsk to St. Petersburg, it's my sister who took this leadership of allies in
Mhm.
Omsk.
Right.
And in St. Petersburg, now we have a new volunteer leader, Anastasia. She was in our this project last year,
Mhm.
so she was among the 4 students I brought from Russia to
Mhm.
UTA.
Mhm.
And when we returned, she was so inspired by
By
what
allies.
allies
Yeah.
are doing, and she became their leader in
Oh
St.
wow.
Petersburg, and that's
That's
great. That's
amazing.
super.
That's
Like
great. That's amazing.
so, this kind of sustainability, and that's like any viable project. It could be reproduced in different
Yeah.
contexts, and
Right.
that's what happens with LS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a model that works.
Yes.
And I think it works for many reasons, but because we're empowering in-country volunteers, so these are people who know the language, they know the
Mhm.
culture,
Yeah.
they're personally invested in this community, and they're consistent. I
Yeah.
think that's the key, is that it's the same
Right.
volunteers that come up, because the trust is the hardest
Mhm.
thing probably. And so for them to have that regular, consistent person, it
Yeah.
breaks that wall down.
Yes.
So during your mentoring time, I know you started to recognize another need, and
Yeah.
that being the education
And
piece.
we understood it actually quite quickly.
Yeah.
So it was back in Omsk, and we went to different orphanages by
Mhm.
2015 already. We went to 3 different orphanages
Mhm.
in Omsk, and like Omsk region. Omsk is a big region, and in one of them, like in a village, there was an orphanage, Isilkul, and we had maybe the best connection there with the director and the
Mhm.
kids, and so one of the that's very important, that you understand the real needs of the kids when you become a friend, like when you come
Mhm.
regularly,
Mhm.
and you see the same child in different situations, in
Mhm.
different relations with different people,
Mhm.
but you see that what he or she really needs. And uh, there were 3 back then, 3 kids who complained that they wouldn't be able to go to university after they leave the orphanage at the age of 18,
Mhm.
because uh, they wouldn't be able to pass exams and
Mm.
entrance exams.
Mm. So there was just gaps in their education
Yeah,
due to.
yeah. In Russia,
Mhm.
traditionally, it's not enough just to be a good student in school. You need to get extra classes. Usually, it's like private tutoring or
Mm.
some maybe university extra classes,
In order
courses,
to
in order
get
to get
in.
to get in the university, especially if you wanted uh, to get scholarship, the so-called
Yeah.
scholarship, like in Russia, the
Right.
so-called the orphans in Russia, if they get to university, they get a lot of benefits, right? Like free accommodation, like special scholarship.
Mhm.
Uh,
And their school is paid for?
yeah, absolutely. Everything is for free. But
So
they
that's huge, because
that's
these
yeah.
they maybe don't have the life skills needed to be fully independent adults. So
Yeah,
this kind of bridges that gap and,
yeah,
can
exactly.
give them a
Right.
few more years.
But they have to compete with other children
Okay.
who from like normal families.
Right.
Yeah, and
Who
these
have all the
children, they
resources
have
and the
all
tutoring
resources, all
and.
the
Mhm.
advantages, like
Mhm.
and these kids and the director of this orphanage, they referred to last, like the year before, that one of the orphans could not make it to university
Mhm.
because she underscored, like her scores were not enough,
Mm.
and she went to like a trade school
Mhm.
and was not very happy about it, like. And the present year, that year that I'm talking about,
Mhm.
these 3 children, this Masha, Oraz, and Sasha,
Mhm.
they said that they wanted to go to school of engineering school, like university, at the university, and medical school.
Mm.
And they said about it at the end of the summer,
Mhm.
and they said that they were in the last grade in high school,
Mhm.
and they said that they have 1 year ahead to prepare, but because first it was a remote orphanage, like it's about 100 miles from Omsk.
Mm.
They couldn't go to university to take courses. It was very difficult.
Right.
Like, second is that they wouldn't be able to hire private tutors in
Right.
this village, even if they had they if they had these tutors, they wouldn't be able to pay for them.
Right.
So
So your wheels are spinning
yes, and
because
then back then, yeah, because I already had this big experience with
yeah,
organizing online projects. I
right.
started my own online school of languages where
Mhm.
we teach it, and I was already with Allies
Right.
as a volunteer leader. So all these like
So it's
tuk,
like your
tuk, tuk,
two worlds kind of
yes, yeah,
collided.
it collided, right?
Yeah.
And it was very natural. Like, oh, I thought
Right.
that.
I know how
So
to
we
do
can,
that.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
do, we can try, right?
Right.
So and I don't remember were allies at this moment already in Omsk, or I contacted them by like online, and
Mhm.
I said that, okay, Chris, like let's do this. Uh let's hire. I can hire the best professors from universities, like the teachers who could help,
Mhm.
but I don't want them to do it as volunteers,
Mhm.
because I want them to do it professionally.
Mhm.
I want them to be always on time with the kids.
Yeah. Committed.
Yeah, committed,
Mhm.
and help them get in the university. So we
Right.
need to pay them, right?
Mhm.
And Chris said, "Let's do that." Right?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So we hired a teacher of math, of physics, of Russian, biology, chemistry. Yeah. So to teach these three guys, like two boys and one girl,
Mhm.
and for 1 year, there was one more
Mhm.
boy, but he was in the not in the last grade, but last but one. So he
Mhm.
had 2 years, but we accepted him too, like in this.
Right.
And this was the difference also was that it was like some classes were group classes, so they're like
Right.
for math they would go together, like
Mhm.
4 kids. For biology, for example, just one, because
Mhm. He
she only
needed it.
needed biology to go to
Right.
medical school, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, for 1 year, we were preparing them. It was online. So
Mhm.
the tutors were in Omsk, and this orphanage was, as I said, like 100 miles from Omsk.
Right.
And yeah, and they all made it to university eventually.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was like something that also made me think that, because none of them dropped out, right?
Mhm.
So they went to classes. Like
Mhm.
they were also supported. That was important. They were supported by the director of the orphanage,
Mm.
who like at least the computer classroom was always open for them,
Mm.
which doesn't happen all the time in other orphanages. But
So
in
it
this
was
one, it was,
important to have someone
yeah,
on site that would
right. It's
support
very
them.
important.
Yeah.
It's really important. Even if the kids are motivated, but if something goes wrong, it's really kind of disheartening for them. It's like they
Yeah.
think, oh, okay,
Mhm.
computer classroom is closed. There's no internet signal. Okay, I will not come to
Right.
class. But if there is kind of an adult who would interfere, who would help,
Yeah.
it's extremely important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Well, it sounds like it's all needed. Like
Yeah.
the child needs to want it
Yeah.
and be willing to put in the work,
Yeah.
and then the model works. I mean, to be able to have this online program
Right.
with highly qualified
Yes.
professional tutors,
Yeah.
and a director who will provide the space
Yes.
and make it a priority,
Right. Absolutely.
and it worked.
And it worked. Yeah. All of
Yeah.
them. So Masha became a student of medical school, and Oraz and Sasha became students of like technical university.
Right.
And it was 2015, I think, or 16, something like this, when they were enrolled in the university. So now all of them already finished.
Wow.
And the boys, they went even to a master's degree program
Mm.
in this technical university. And Masha became a doctor, and
Wow.
she I was in contact with her when during pandemic, she
Right.
said that she worked with COVID patients, and yeah, that was like
Wow.
I have always been in contact with them.
Yeah.
And that's very important too, like because I could see their story
Mhm.
unfolding like through the time.
So
And
can you share with us some of their stories prior to this?
yeah,
Like Masha, what was life like for her?
she was left in the orphanage by the parents
Yeah.
whose parental rights were revoked. There was also her sister in the
Mhm.
orphanage, right?
So it was both of them.
Yeah.
So what I read about Masha was that her mother died when she was 7.
Oh.
She did have a father who was able to care for her and her
Right.
siblings, but then tragedy struck again
Yeah.
when he passed away. She was 11.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself, like I would think
It's so
going through trauma like that, education and school would become like a less of a priority because you're just grieving and now you're in an orphanage and
yeah, and it's like it's almost like a so standard story. Like
yeah.
that's why I don't even already
They
remember the
all,
details,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
But in that,
Mm-hmm.
it says that she started realizing that helping people made her happy and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
she felt a call to study medicine but couldn't pass the tests. And now
Yeah.
she is a doctor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then Oraz.
Oraz. Yeah.
Oraz.
Uh-huh.
So he went to the orphanage when he was only 3.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even imagine a small child having to grow up in
Yeah.
that situation. And according to him, it was really difficult
Mm-hmm.
living there.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a good student. He wasn't well behaved. Teachers treated him terribly.
Yeah.
He voiced that he wanted to be an engineer, and they said, "There's no way. You can't do it. You don't have the academic record to be able to succeed." And then the Allies mentors showed up in the
Yeah.
tutoring
Yeah.
program,
Yeah. Yeah.
changed his story. And then I love this story, Zhenya.
Zhenya. Yeah. He also
Um,
went to technical university.
okay.
Yeah.
So Jenya was a different story than the first two. He was actually taken from his parents
Uh-huh.
because they struggled with alcoholism
Yeah.
and couldn't take care of him. So he was 9 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
His mother died a
Mm-hmm.
year later. His father never wanted to restore parental rights.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow through all of that, he still managed to keep his education a priority.
Yeah, I think he was one of the most serious like guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was always determined.
Yeah. I think it's so
Yeah.
good to hear their backstory because you see the refined version of them, who they are today, but
Yeah.
it's so impactful to realize that at one point you couldn't see that. And it took somebody calling that out and believing in them when maybe they didn't even couldn't see it or believe it in themselves.
I even sent you pictures of it's amazing. Like I remember this visits when we and somebody took pictures of us when we were talking to Oraz in the corridor in the hall of the orphanage. And I remember that it took me time to convince him, like, let's join, let's start this tutoring with
Right.
us, because he was the most like disobedient guy. And but at the same time, he was the most maybe
Determined or fierce.
like
Yeah.
when like
The hunger about him.
yeah. And somebody took a picture of like of us, and I even remember this moment when we were
Yeah.
talking.
Wow.
And
And look at him today. He's the one that he's an engineer.
yeah, he graduated from technical university, and I think he went to master's degree program. I don't know what exactly he's doing now.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah.
Wow. So tell
maybe-
me about the program today. How many, do you know off the top of your head, how many orphans have gone through the tutoring program and what is their success rate?
Yeah.
Have they,
So
how
we
many of
we
them?
continued. Yeah, after this success, like first year and second year
Yeah.
of the same orphanage, we started to offer this tutoring program to other orphanages. And later we also started to advertise it in social media. And we saw a lot of responses from foster families who recently adopted children or started to care them from the orphanage. And they said that, wow, it's a real problem, because even though they're supported by the government, but it's not enough for them to provide good education to children even they're at home.
So you moved into the foster
Foster,
system
yeah, like
as well.
combination, like orphanages and orphans from orphanages and from foster families. On average, we have like yearly about 12, 15 kids going consistently, more or less consistently to the class, because there are also dropouts, like of course. they start going, then disappear, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, start going, it's all online, right?
Mhm.
It's 100% online. We have tutors. We still have tutors mostly from Omsk
Mhm.
because that's where, well, it was my hometown,
Right.
and
Where your
I still have,
connections
yeah,
were.
I still
Mhm.
have most connections there,
Mhm.
even though I live in St. Petersburg. And so the tutors are online. The
Mhm.
kids are also online. So it's
Mhm.
video conference room. We have a special platform for them where they communicate with the teachers asynchronously between classes, where they get tasks and materials. And we teach all the subjects, all
Mhm.
school subjects, whatever demand is, like chemistry, biology,
Mhm.
IT, Russian, math, English, all,
Right.
like whatever
Whatever they
they want.
need.
Yeah, whatever they
Mhm.
need. So if they start going, if they join the program and they go, like sometimes they join us at the 9th grade and they go 10th and 11th grade. If they
Stick with it.
if they finish,
Mhm.
normally if they don't drop out, they all become students of university or good community colleges,
Mm.
like good trade school. Because by default, when they get out of the orphanage helps them get to any trade school. Like
Mhm.
it's not a problem,
Mhm.
but the quality of this trade school is sometimes very bad.
Right.
If they want to go to real good, like for example, Vanya Komarov, one of the orphans, he went to like aviation, like college, but it's
Mhm.
not a university. It's more
Mhm.
like trade school, but
Mhm.
it's very high because after this aviation school, he can go to aviation engineering university.
Mhm.
So there are different types of trade school.
Right.
If they plan to go to high quality trade school or university, and if they finish our tutoring program, they all get
All.
there.
It's 100%.
100%. Okay, but because we don't know any like stories that somebody would tell us, oh, after your tutoring program, I I wasn't able to. Of course, yeah, they have some. They used to have a little different level of entrance. Like, for example, if most children have to pass the exams like at like 90% out of 100 scores.
Mhm.
For orphans, it could be like 80. So
Mhm.
it's a little lower.
Mhm.
But there's no way for them to get to 80 if they don't
If they
get
don't
extra
get the
classes,
tutoring.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing is that if they say this is what I want and they stick with the
Mhm.
program and they go through,
Yeah.
they're getting into the
Mhm.
colleges
Yeah. They get into
100% of the
college.
time.
Yes.
If this is the path that they're choosing.
That and usually every year it's about on average 3-4 kids who get into college,
Mm.
university
Do you know how
after
many
our
in total
So we can
since it
count like
started?
since it started. So it's about maybe 60, 65, 70 who
Mm.
made it to college, who made it to university.
Wow.
So
That's huge.
it's big. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
big. We wish we wish we could make it more, but one of the biggest obstacles is the orphanage itself, like
Mhm.
the administration,
Yeah.
the way how activities are organized, like how it's all managed.
Mhm.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's horrible. Yeah, it's like there were so many cases that we we wanted to bring this orphan from like a remote village in an orphanage in a remote village, even in the city, it doesn't really matter. And she starts going, like attending our classes online,
Mhm.
and then disappears. Like, and we find out that it's not because of she that didn't want, but because they're distracted. Like they're called on like taking part in like performance for a certain holiday in the
Mhm.
orphanage, or like state holiday,
Mhm.
or the computer class. Somebody took away the keys from the computer classroom and never returned. But and
Yeah.
all something like this happens all the
Yeah.
time, and we lose these children. Like
Yeah.
it's and it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think we just got to keep believing that this is a barrier and maybe there's a solution out there that
mhm,
we can figure out a
yeah,
way. But let's not minimize the number of 60 or 70
yeah,
students. Like that's huge. And
mhm,
then if you think about that, they will go on, many of them, and have children of their own, and how this is going to impact their families and their communities. So that's no small task. And I'm curious, when you started this program with those 3 students, did
mm,
you have this in mind? Did you think it would evolve? And was this the vision
no,
all
no.
along? Or,
We the first year we didn't. We were focused just on these kids.
mm-hmm.
When they finally when they were admitted to university, we thought about upscaling it. Like
Yeah,
yeah, and that's something that I still believe in it. Like
yeah,
I think that this model could be applied to
to other
any
countries.
countries, right?
Yeah.
Any country.
Well, like you said, with the Allies model, it works, and this tutoring model, it works.
Mm-hmm,
And I love how you have the gift of connectedness and of just
mm-hmm,
using your experience, your resources, the people you know to, yeah, empower the next
mm-hmm,
generation.
mm-hmm.
And so, what is your hope for your students?
That they can really, their life will change for so drastically. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can't even imagine. Like
Mm-hmm.
these guys, Oraz and Sasha,
Mm-hmm.
they told me that when we met, maybe after 1 year when they became already, I think they were in the like sophomores in the university,
Mm-hmm.
and we went together. We played basketball with them, and they said that um, they meet sometimes the the kids that where they grew up in the from the same orphanage,
Mm-hmm.
and they said that they can't even talk to, like they can't bring themselves to talk to them because there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing to talk. There's nothing
Mm-hmm.
that they can share.
They just
The
have two
language,
different
yeah, the language is
lives.
different. The values are different,
Mm-hmm.
and that was so like revealing for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I understand what he means. It
Mm-hmm.
was the same kind of when I myself changed my life, like from being like
Mm-hmm.
a street guy selling souvenirs, and then
Mm-hmm.
uh, becoming a full-time student.
Mm-hmm.
I also could not find something that I could share with my
Mm-hmm.
ex-friends.
Yeah.
That was like I understood what they
Yeah.
meant.
Well, your eyes were completely open to another way,
Yeah,
and so that affected your ability to connect with
right.
people.
Yeah,
And the same with them. Like they
yeah,
have a completely different life than what
absolutely.
the other kids
Yeah.
have experienced. And
Unfortunately, of course, for the other kids, yeah,
yeah.
it's just it's yeah, it's the sad truth of our life. Like yeah, most of them who graduate like who leave orphanages at the
Mm-hmm.
age of 18, they end up on streets, they end up in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they they go to the army, but it would be maybe even the best scenario for them to go to the army.
Yeah.
Um, but they become drug addicts.
Mm-hmm.
They drink. I have seen
Mm-hmm.
so many stories like
Yeah.
this, and
But for you, what you've seen is the education is the key to
mhm.
breaking that cycle.
Yeah, that's something really, really what I believe in. Like
Yeah.
it's especially maybe in Russian context,
Mm-hmm.
where in general, uh, like the social
Mm-hmm.
like lift, like
Yeah.
it depends so much on education that you have,
Education.
right?
Yeah. So I think when, I'm thinking about people who are listening to your story and like what you've been able to accomplish, um and what I want people to see is that you are an ordinary guy that was willing to be present and to show up for these kids and to listen to them and
Hmm.
care for them and be consistent in their life. And through that, you saw a need and you had connections and you
Hmm.
stepped in. And I think that that is something that every single person listening can do. Like we can all be present,
Yeah.
have our eyes open to needs
Mhm.
around us, and then use whatever you have to
Mhm.
impact the lives of other people.
Yeah. And think a little bit like put yourself in the shoes of these guys, just
Hmm.
in your mind. Like it, anyone can get in a hard situation, not exactly like orphanage, like,
Yeah,
but
right.
in any hard life situation. And it's something like who would you think you could address to help you, like.
Yeah.
And that's something, if there is the right person to help,
Hmm.
yeah, this person can really impact and change life a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So, for someone who's listening and they want to get involved and they want to be a part of supporting allies or supporting what you're doing, what would you say to them?
Oh, yeah, I think that because Allies is already like a well experienced it's like a real organization that has experience and knows how to help,
Hmm.
right? Exactly. Because
Hmm.
some orphanages, some kids, they just need basic things, right?
Hmm.
Very basic, like shoes for the winter.
Hmm.
And some need something maybe more complex, right?
Hmm.
Like getting into a university, right?
Hmm.
And even a small kind of amount of help can, it's like pitching in, like these little streams of help,
Hmm.
they can make a big river, like, and this river can bring
Hmm.
this child to much better life,
Hmm.
whether he doesn't get cold in Siberian winter, or
Hmm.
he maybe eventually becomes a doctor.
Right.
Yeah. So it's it doesn't, yeah, for some people it looks very different, but
Hmm.
in some way it's kind of almost similar things, right?
Hmm.
They could benefit
Hmm.
from different, even small sources,
Hmm.
but could that small sources of help that could be combined and used
Yeah,
for the
to
better.
make an impact. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's one of the things I love so much about allies is that we don't just do one thing. We don't just um, have this one like cookie cutter approach to fixing a need. It's really um, unique to whatever
Mhm.
a child might be struggling with. So yeah, we do provide humanitarian aid in the shoes and clothes, and but it's so much more than that. We provide the mentors who provide the friendship and
Yeah.
the safe relationships and the life skills and the tutoring. Like it's all about let's remove the barriers, whatever is holding you back from stepping into the full life that
Mhm.
you're called to do. So I love that. And I'm so grateful for you. And I am so grateful for your tutoring program and for the students that you've helped, the lives you've changed. And I think the sky's the limit. Like, let's keep dreaming
Mhm.
and believing on how this model could be replicated and how we can impact more kids and more futures.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Hmm.
something that I'm dreaming about, like replicating it in different countries
Yeah,
and contexts.
right.
And yeah, I think it's quite feasible as soon as there are local people who can take some responsibility for uh, reaching out to the kids,
Hmm.
finding their needs, and then finding the tutors who could speak the same language as the kids.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all have a piece to play and have a role that we can help with. And I was actually talking to Chris about it, and
Mm-hmm.
like after you and I met, and I was just dreaming with him, like how could we replicate this? And I think one of the many reasons your program has been so successful is because you do pay your tutors,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very professional
Yeah.
um, not just volunteer person who has big heart, but
Yeah.
they actually, this is their profession and their career, and they have a big heart. And so that takes money. So funding would be one thing that, let's just, the money is out there. And so if that's the barrier that's holding us back from growing, then let's rally people who have the funds so we can launch this program in more countries and reach more kids. So, well, thank you so much for everything, for your story, for being here, for sharing. And I think it's going to definitely inspire and impact people. So
Thank you for inviting me to share.
Yeah.
And I hope we can reach out to more people through this talk.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Kostya's story reminds us that real impact starts with just using whatever you already have, your connections and your skills and your passion, and that can make a difference. And so what did he do? He saw a need, he took action, and lives are being changed because of it. And his story also tells us that there is incredible potential inside each one of us, even if your present circumstance doesn't look so. Sometimes it just takes somebody being willing to listen and believe and help you remove those barriers. And that's what our mentors are doing every day at Allies. They're empowering orphans to move forward with confidence and with hope. And so to learn more about this work and how you can help more children discover hope and opportunity through education and mentorship, please visit alliesyouth.org. And if this story inspired you, don't forget to like it and subscribe and share, because we believe that every story has hope and really power to spark another person. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Today's impact moment is about a little girl named Esther in Bunda, Tanzania. Esther comes from a vulnerable family. Her mother struggles to provide for her, and her father isn't present. She's often quiet and withdrawn, and you'll rarely see her smiling. So during an Allies Mentoring Program in January, Esther was listening closely as her mentor talked about how God created every nation, every culture, and every person on purpose and for a purpose, and that each child is seen and treasured. When it was time for the kids to share about their culture, Esther didn't have a costume or really anything special to show. But her mentor gently encouraged her to stand up and just simply say her name and where she was from. And when she did, the room erupted in applause for her. Later, she was hesitant to join a race, but her teammates were cheering her on. So she ran, and again, they celebrated and they encouraged. And for the first time that day, she was laughing out loud. As she left, she hugged her mentor and she said, "I want to come again next time." Y'all, that's what mentorship does. It reminds a child that they are seen, known, and valued. And sometimes it starts with something as simple as saying your name and then being celebrated for it.